What's up, guys? Cameron MSP Saaiman here, and today I am joined by the CEO and founder of USN, short for Ultimate Sports Nutrition. Enjoy.
Cameron Saaiman, ladies and gentlemen. Cameron Saaiman taking care of business. Wow. That look says it all.
Hard? So what? Sorry, what did you call a hard enduro?
Hard enduro
Yeah,
riding.
that is insane. I've seen a lot of your stories of where you guys do that more and more. You in Lesotho right now,
Just
right?
this weekend, yeah, training for the Roof of Africa.
That is insane. Can anyone enter the Roof of Africa?
Anyone can enter, but if you don't have the experience and you haven't done the training, you're probably not likely to get further than 5 kilometers in a day's time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's actually really as intense as that.
So it's like quite a lengthy race, right?
Yeah, well, in time-wise, it's lengthy.
Yeah.
Distance-wise, it's anything from 80 to 100 kilometers per stage over 3 days, of which 2 of the days are the long days, and the first day is the what's the name?
Like it's like an intro.
It's the prologue.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much the prologue.
Okay.
And the prologue in itself is normally about 15 to 20 Ks.
Yeah.
But on a wet day like we had last year, you know, it could take some guys up to 3-4 hours to cover the 20 Ks.
That is insane.
Yeah, you would never think, you know, you've got a motorbike, so you would never think, oh, you know, it's that intense and that hard in your body.
Yeah.
But the reality is you've got your upper body and your lower body to work with a machine of 105 kilograms.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gets hard, and downhills is not just a matter of freewheeling. You know, it's hard pounding on the body.
I think the first time I was on a bike, I was about 19 years old, so I didn't have any experience. It was on Coach's farm in Dilstrom, and it was one of those standing. So you can't really sit on the bike.
Yeah, the trail bikes. I mean, yeah.
So he put me on that, got whiskey throttle, proper, just drove for about 60 meters before leaning over the bike, flipped over the handlebars. And after that, I was not a fan at all. But I got back onto the bike, and it's super technical to keep your balance on that bike, especially like with, I think it's right-hand turns, because then obviously your petrol goes, you know. So it was after 20 minutes of riding, I was out of breath.
Yeah,
you're burning a lot of calories doing that. So do you guys refuel every like 3 to 5 kilometers doing the hard enduro?
No, you feel it. And I mean, you know, what we do is you've obviously got the hydrator packs.
Yes.
And that you need to fill up with a drink with lots of calories.
Yeah.
Because you burn up to 1,000 calories per hour. You know, 700 to 1,000 calories. Okay. Remember, it's your entire body that's working.
Yeah.
Unlike cycling, which is great for fitness, but it's only your lower body really that's working. So that's what you need to, that's the muscle that you need to feed. So now you feel it very quickly. You know, being enduro fit, hard enduro fit is it's a very different type of fitness than cycling.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like a lot like with martial arts. If guys ask us, what do you recommend us do? You know, like boxing is very top heavy, so it's a lot shoulders and core. But not a lot of legs. Wrestling is full body.
Yeah.
I think you are, you know, using all the muscles that you really can, and I think that's a lot of the same thing. So
yeah, you know, and initially if you haven't developed the skills yet, obviously you're wasting a lot more energy because you're not flowing with a bike, you know. So you're almost fighting the bike. You're trying to miss all the rocks instead of just flowing over it and so on.
Yeah.
So initially it takes a hell of a lot of energy out of you. But if you ride with a guy like Charon Moore, who's just so elegant on that bike, and he uses as little as possible of his own energy because he's got the skill, then you actually see how much energy you can save. You're still going to be using a lot of energy. And obviously at the level where he races, you know, he's going to go to his maximum energy expenditure, you know, to achieve optimal results. Yeah. You know, but that's the thing, you know, with the hard enduro riding, you use your entire body.
Yeah. I got to meet Mr. Moore at the Adrenaline Day, and it's insane to see these guys make the switch from being so laid back, so chilled, and then the moment they get onto those into either the Dakar cars, which were amazing, or on those bikes, it's as if a switch flips and they just, it's kind of like a fighter wanting to murder in the cage outside. He's just so chill, you know. So it was insane. The Adrenaline Day was it was one of the best experiences I've ever had, because you're riding in those cars you taking a turn at like 180, which is
pretty much.
yeah.
It feels like
And then sometimes you think, okay, he's about to brake, he's not braking at all. So it's absolutely insane. How did the transition almost, you have a very successful business, a massive business. Where do you find the time to really do stuff like this?
Yeah, I think it's necessary, when you run a big business. You need that release.
Yes.
You need to get your mind off the things that that keeps you consumed on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And this type of physical exercise, it's different. You get that release.
Yeah.
You tire yourself out. And also, I think if you're ambitious, you wanna test yourself in all aspects.
Yes.
I regret not carrying on with boxing after the police college, because I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
But then you sort of, life happens and you do different things. Eventually started mountain biking. So I think it's a personality thing. It's something you've got to do. You got to find that balance, and you got to make the time.
That's you mentioned the police college as well. Is that something that you did straight after school or straight after university? How did that transition happen?
Yeah, so my time when I finished school in 1990, it was still compulsory to either go to
the
military service or the police.
Yeah.
So I chose the police.
Okay.
My dad was a policeman as well.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, you know what, I'd like to become a general in the police one day.
Yes.
Because that's what I aspire to. But then I went into forensics in the police, facial sketches, and so on.
Okay.
Which I enjoyed a lot. Yeah. So I spent 6 years in the police. It was an amazing time.
Yeah. Learned
a lot. And then pretty much moved on from there.
Wow. Okay. Did you start building USN while being in the police?
No. I was always into fitness.
Okay.
Just really enjoying in the police, you either after work, you either go to the bar, you go to a gym.
Yes.
That's it. And your options weren't that many in Pietermaritzburg in the early 90s,
Yeah. It was more the bar than the gym.
Yeah. So I spent, at that time, I fortunately spent more time in the gym.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that a lot.
Okay.
And then thereafter, my passion, I guess, for fitness, I started working at a gym chain selling memberships.
Okay.
Yeah. And they taught me a bit about sales. And I thought, geez, I'm actually quite good at this.
Yes. Okay.
My dad used to tell me I'm lazy, but dang, why do I like working so much?
Yeah.
So fortunately, I managed to prove him wrong.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
And that's how I basically got into the industry. And that's like towards the end of the 90s. That's when this big creatine hype exploded. And that's where I sort of developed the interest. I thought to myself, you know what, I could go and buy the bulk, put it into little containers and sell it to friends.
Yes.
Which is what I did. And that's where USN was born.
I saw at the head office in Centurion, the hand mixer you used. Yes. So it's like a little, like you say, like a massive potato drum.
Yeah.
And you use that to mix the...
That was the first factory in my kitchen in Hatfield.
That is great.
I put all the ingredients in there with the creatine and the maltodextrin and the amino acids, glutamine and taurine and the phosphates and the flavoring. Mix it up, and then you'd get 5 to 7 containers out of that. And then I'd go and sell that to friends and so on. Obviously I knew what the formulation should consist of.
Okay.
So I just made everything a little bit stronger.
Okay.
So people came back with amazing results, and everyone was asking for this. Obviously, at that point, I still didn't even have a brand name. I just had containers that was unlabeled.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I thought, oh, geez, you know what? I'm probably going to have to come up with a logo and a brand name and so on.
So where, at how many clients did you decide, okay, we have something to work with here? Yes. Yeah. How did that?
I think when I got to, and it's small, but at that point, I didn't think it was small. Remember, my last salary in the police was 1,800 Rand.
Yes.
Now I'm running a business where I'm selling 10 to 15,000 Rands worth of supplements a month. I thought, geez, I've got a business here.
Yes. Wow.
It was exciting, yeah. And I thought to myself, gee, I'm going to have to come up with a name, with a brand name, and it's going to have to sound American.
Okay.
Because the perception is that the American brands are the best.
Yes.
And at that point they were.
Yeah,
they
the
were,
2000 Gold's Gym craze, the bodybuilding was massive.
Yeah. So everything was very American.
Okay.
The perception is Americans, American produced products are the best. So I came up with the name USN, which stands for Ultimate Sports Nutrition, with the little global device as an icon. I went to a pharmaceutical company in Columbia Pharmaceuticals, and they were producing medicines at that point, and they still do. And I gave them a formulation. I said to them, listen, I want you to produce this product, but it's got to be produced in a medical facility. That's what I believed at that point.
Yes.
So that I can go and sell it in stores.
Okay.
Then came up with a logo, had it designed and put on business cards and on the labels, and started producing at the end of '99 the first creatine transport systems.
That is insane. When you decided to do the transition from making it from your house, I think probably like health and safety was also quite a big concern if you have to sell like huge amounts of supplements. So it's where did you start? Did you start targeting private clients? Did you do stores after the branding started?
Yeah, so initially, when I produced it at home, I sold it to friends, and they sold it to friends, and so on. And then when these little shops, some of these gyms had little supplement shops in the gyms, and they were asking for this USN brand. You know? So it was a natural pull, I guess. Okay. At that point, the market, believe it or not, was already saturated. There were already like brands like Lepin and EAS and Twin Lab, and and then there was Muscle Science, and a lot of the brands that doesn't exist today anymore.
I don't even know one of those you mentioned.
So the pharmacy shelves were stocked full of those brands. But I managed to get into these little private-owned gym shops, and it just caught momentum from there. Until there was enough of a demand on consumer level, so that I can go into pharmacies, because pharmacies rejected me initially. Said, no, we've got enough supplements here. We don't need any more. And we don't know USN in any case. Yes. So I said, okay, well, the time will come.
Okay.
I sold more to the little gym shops, and then and eventually more to the chains, and that's how the business grew.
Building the brand until it's not even a question anymore. You have to have it in your store.
Exactly. You need to create demand on consumer level.
Yeah.
So that the pharmacy or the retailer can't afford not to have your product on the shelves.
What was the initial type of motivation to start the brand? Was it something more deeper and philosophical of like doing something that is a positive impact? Was it just to quickly make money? And did that type of motivation change through the years?
So I think it's probably my my love for creativity.
Yes.
For making things.
Yeah.
I mean, I was an artist in the police force.
Yes.
The subject that I was very good at in school, and the only subject I was good at in school was art.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't care about. I was terrible at it. I just couldn't focus. I just wanted to draw pictures all day long. So it's, my love for being creative, for actually putting, designing something and putting it on the shelf and getting people to want it. So that's always been my motivation. I mean, I've had opportunities to sell the business so many times from 2004, 5, 6, all the way through.
Yeah.
But money was never my driving force.
Yes.
Of course, a supplement company or any company has got to make money to be able to grow.
Yeah.
Because you can't fuel your growth out of nothing. It's going to come from profits.
Of course.
It's my motivation is still to take the best research from across the world, the latest research, and apply that in our formulations and come up with the best possible products.
Yeah.
And continue to innovate, And that to me is rewarding. See this new range, or see a specific new product, or listen to customers to, with regards to a flavor they want,
yes.
And when we got it out there to get the amazing feedback, I mean, that's stimulating.
That's great. Yeah. And to an extent, you need creativity to push innovation as well. So it's really amazing, and we can also see it. When I was a kid, I was part of Sportsmax, and when USN was almost, I think you guys bought over Sportsmax, or you guys were working with Sportsmax, the whole branding changed, and that creativity almost became super professional. And I remember I was like 16, 17 years old, and it was just so cool to have like these aids to use even at school level, because it was safe to use, and it was stuff that we can use. You know, if the rugby players were using it, and obviously they get, well, I got tested even as an amateur, so it was sick to see the transition. And now obviously with the rebranding of USN, a more simpler logo, more creative type of packaging as well. It's really, really cool to see. When you guys started, when the business was taking off, was the dream to be an international brand, or did you want to solely focus on the South African markets?
The idea was always, I mean, when I started the business, I realized that I'm going to have to think a lot further now already than just South Africa. And that's the reason why I also came up with the name USN as a brand name, because I knew it'll resonate with the likes of China, Europe, and so on as well. Fortunately, I did go and register the brand name and the logo in all of those countries early enough.
Yes.
So that by the time, when the time was right, I entered the UK, the European countries, China, Malaysia, Australia, and so on.
Yeah.
So, I don't know whether it was ignorance at the time that I had this vision that I want to go worldwide with the brand.
Yes.
Or over optimistic, but fortunately it worked out well, and it worked out that way. Yeah.
It worked out very well. I now it's a very stupid example, but just buying CameronSaaiman.com, because I didn't do it a year or two ago, I had to pay out of my ears for that domain. So that absolutely sucked. Yeah. So I should have just actually asked you for advice.
Yeah, well, I mean, my advice I also got from friends, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So, lawyers' friends, and they said to me very quickly. So fortunately, I surrounded myself with good influences, people who had a good influence on see where I was going and what I needed to do, and bringing the governance into the business and so on.
Speaking of good influence, when you were building the brand, and even now, are they still, like, did you have a team? Were you by yourself? And are there a handful of guys that you see every single week in terms of the development and the growth of USN?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the top structure management of USN, most of those guys have been with USN since 2000, 2001, 2002, since the very beginning.
Okay.
You know, so I've always been fortunate to be surrounded with strong colleagues and a strong team.
Yes.
You know? People who are passionate about the industry, who are very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
You know, and hardworking.
Yeah.
So that I've always been fortunate. But you know, the business goes through growth phases. You know, if I take a time in 2008-9, the business grew to a point where it was difficult for me to manage. You know,
yes,
and then it becomes a lonely world.
Yes,
you know, because each guy in your team is responsible for his responsibilities only.
Yeah.
You know,
so you get
and they're doing a great job at that.
Yeah,
but then to try and pull all of those strings together and try and set up the UK for that business to grow.
Wow.
It's you know, it's you don't realize how big the mountain is that you facing.
Yeah.
Until you're halfway up, and then you realize, geez, you know what? Either I finish this halfway, or I go back to where I've come from. So you might as well finish it.
Okay.
And then you think to yourself, like, you know, halfway up that mountain, how did I ever get myself into this? You know, but here I am. I've got to do it. You know, I've got turning back is not an option.
You need to build a trolley on the way on the way there. Okay, that's awesome. And just like out of my experience, you know, and a massive shout out to Jaco Barna.
Yeah.
You know, he's been someone that I've known since I was 16 years old, and to see the type of passion he was talking about. I still remember we had a Bokkie Week where we were also doing sales, and you know, we were there for 7 days. We worked with him every single day, working on, you know, sales, working on how to talk to the guys, how to represent the brand well. And it was great to, after a hard day of work, go back. We have a braai, there's a jacuzzi, you know, but when we were talking about the brand, you could see he had this amazing passion.
Yeah. And with Jaco, nothing has changed.
Yes.
It's still the same.
Yes.
The game is just a bit bigger.
Yeah.
It's a lot bigger.
A lot bigger.
And he's playing a bigger game. And he's doing an exceptional job. I mean, I can't think of anyone else who'd be able to do that type of job like Jaco's doing. And that's how fortunate I am in USN, because if you look at each division, we've got the best guy for that division doing an amazing job.
Speaking about that, is your guys' design and marketing team. I don't know how. I don't like. We've done like a few stuff where I just think that cannot be easy. The amount of products you have, the amount of design work, the obviously you have certain products for certain countries as well.
Yeah,
that sounds like a very tough challenge.
It's a lot of work to get going, but I mean it's 20 years in the making.
Yes,
so once you've got the systems in place, then and the flywheel is going. Then it can keep on going, and everyone's got their responsibilities, and they know where to fill the gaps on a day-to-day basis. Yes, and it does, from the outside, it does look intimidating. Yeah, as intimidating it is for me to look at another type of business that which I'm not involved in and think, geez, how do you do that? Yeah, how do you run a franchise with 100 franchises? How do you build a business like Discam with 180 stores and it's so successful? Yeah, So
that sounds like admin.
Yeah. How do you go and get into a cage in the UFC and actually beat the guys?
That's much easier than building a
that
business.
To me is intimidating. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it's the same thing.
Out of your product, because you guys have a lot of products, and out of your product range, what are we had JC Lambrecht, who's a close quarter survival specialist. We had him on the podcast and we asked him what is his everyday carry. So he ran through his Glock and everything. What are the supplements that you use daily?
Yeah. So I'll always use my amino acids, like all 9 aminos.
Yes.
Use that before and during training. Then I'll always have a whey protein immediately after for that quick muscle recovery, just to bank the training, you know? Because it's pointless in having a very hard training session and you're not feeding your muscle.
Yes.
It's like going one step forward and one step back all the time. So that's very important. And when I do my hard enduro riding and training, I'll always use Epic Pro in the bag, because you need calories. If you're going to go for a 2-hour ride, you're going to be burning 1,400 calories at least. So if you don't put it back while you're riding, you're going to eat the whole ball very quickly. Yeah. So it's that cramp block I always use, because it's one of those things. If you train, if you exercise, just normal living, you perspire a lot and you lose a lot of electrolytes and phosphates. And once you're depleted of that, you're tired. You're tired and you don't know why. You know. But then there's a shortage of magnesium and sodium and potassium. And then at night you want to fall asleep and you can't. You're restless and so on. And it's a lack of good phosphates and electrolytes.
Yeah. I think especially with performing sports where you have to almost have fuel to endure whatever you're doing, whether that's a short burst of 5-minute rounds of fighting or even a lengthy period of enduro, you have to almost have these fueling agents to help you. And I think that's something that's, you can sometimes have a quite a negative connotation, like people think calories are bad for you, or like, no, don't consume too many calories. But it's always like within measure, like what are you doing during the day, and how much are you training, and how is your nutrition and your supplementation supporting your training? So.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you just look at nutrition like oils and fats and so on, people think fats are bad for you. Fat makes you fat. But if you don't consume fat, you're not feeding your brain. Your brain's development is so dependent on consuming good fats. Your cognitive function is so dependent on that. Your brain is dependent on energy. Your digestive system is dependent on energy. So you're going to have to get the energy from somewhere. You know? So when you eat protein, the protein needs to break down into amino acids. And for that, you need an energy source. So, I mean, just as it is, you'll be burning 2,000 calories a day. So it's okay if you want to stay thin and for cosmetic reasons, and you just want to look pretty and so on, to reduce your calorie intake to 1,400. It's healthy as well. But I mean, if you're a sportsman and you want to perform at your best, you're going to have to wisely take in more calories. Obviously, be careful what type of calories it is. Because it's also no point in you got all the energy and so on, but you're out of shape. Because it's very difficult to out-exercise a bad diet.
100%.
People think that training and exercise makes you lose weight. It's what you eat that makes you lose weight. Training accelerates it. That's all.
I remember back like a bunch of years ago, and it was William Bonac he was having like a press conference, and we were also there, and I very stupidly just asked him, like, because when you see him on photos, you like,
He's a monster.
This man is built. But when you see him in person, it's much worse.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm actually getting like goosebumps. It's like, it's
how's it even possible,
unbelievable how a guy can be built like that. And for my one stupid question I had is like, do you ever like eat chocolates or have a snack? You know? No, I asked him. And he's like, yeah, I do sometimes. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to get fit from one protein shake, so I'm not going to get fat from one chocolate. It's just like this constant, it's consistency. It's constantly training, constantly being very aware of your diet. And it was amazing to see him also. Okay, he's also a human. He also gets sugar cravings, you know. But with that, do you cheat a lot?
I won't say I cheat a lot. As long as you do a lot more of the good things, you can do some of the bad. You know?
Okay. So what's the go-to cheat meal?
Let me think about that. I'd say probably white wine.
White wine. That's the cheat meal. Yeah, that's not bad. Liquid calories. That's cool. White wine. Really?
I mean, well, think about it. You've got grape juice.
Yeah.
That basically all the sugar turned into alcohol.
Yeah,
alcohol is an empty calorie. Alcohol in itself is not going to make you fat. It's your inhibitions that you lose when you start when the alcohol kicks in and you start eating all the snacks on the table. That's what makes you fat.
We are playing checkers and this man is playing chess. It's insane. Yeah, that's great. I must say, like after in camp, I get weird cravings, and obviously we cut a lot of weight. So, like we said, that's that management of calories during. It's so weird. But
so now the most important there is to always optimize your phosphate level. So you can eat when you train hard. You can take at least 10 tablets of cramp block a day.
Yeah,
you should. Yeah, in fact, you know. And then the type of oils that you use, extra virgin olive oil, you know, those type of things. That's very important.
Yeah.
So if you keep those at a high level, then you'll have much less of those cravings. And then obviously what was very important, your protein.
Yes.
Because remember, the protein needs to break down into amino acids, and those amino acids has got hormonal functions as well.
Yeah.
For instance, you need tryptophan to spike your serotonin, which is your happy hormone.
Yes.
And then, you know, and then obviously melatonin is your sleep hormone.
Yes.
You know, that'll come after that. Yeah.
That sleep aid that you guys make is absolutely amazing. But I just sometimes get weird dreams. I don't know why, but like maybe it's because I'm into that REM, that very deep REM sleep that it works very, very well. But then I get like dreams of,
you want to fight?
You know, it's always I'm in a complex and there's a lot of riot guys and I'm running and headbutting people. It's amazing. It's so sick. We were talking about the design of USN, and you know, you guys also have amazing athletes under the USN banner, and you've been sponsoring from athletes to swimmers to fighters to rugby players. In your opinion, what is your favorite sport? What is your ultimate? I don't want you to burn any bridges with all the other sports, but just your personal opinion.
You know, for me, physical sports, like real physical sports. Yeah. I mean, no disrespect, but you know, a darts player is not an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very skilled.
Yes.
You know, it's incredible what they do. And pool and so on. But physical sports, you know, rugby, hard enduro, cycling, mountain biking, you know, those are the type of things that I like. And I mean, I can't tell you that I like the one more than the other. I mean, obviously, you know, I'd like to take part myself. So I'm a terrible spectator.
Okay.
You know, I'm not suggesting I want to take part in UFC. Yeah. You know, but there I'm happy to spectate.
Yeah. Okay. But you can always come train with us.
But when it comes to mountain biking, you know, I want to go and ride. I can't go and watch how other people do it. You know, when it comes to riding motorbikes in the Lesotho mountains and roof, you know, you're not going to find me there as a spectator. Either I'm going to go and do it myself or I'm not going to be there. So I like physical sports. And sometimes I do more of the one than the other.
Yes.
It just depends, you know. I'm getting fit, well, trying to get fit for the Wines to Wales
Okay.
race in October, end of October.
Okay.
So,
explain to us what is that race consist of?
So the Wines to Wales is a mountain bike race in the Western Cape.
Okay.
It's normally from Grabouw to Hermanus.
Okay.
I believe it's this year we're going from Hermanus to Grabouw, consisting of 3 stages. Unbelievable routes.
Yeah.
It's so nice. And they've got about around 500 teams of 2.
Wow, okay.
Of 3 different races.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just such a nice atmosphere, you know, and the weekend that I'm riding is actually the weekend of the World Cup finals as well.
Okay.
So which was the same thing 4 years ago in the last World Cup.
Oh wow.
And
okay.
Fortunately we won. So you can imagine the vibe
it's made to
under
be.
those tents in Grabouw.
Yeah.
It was just such an unbelievable vibe.
Will you be able to finish before the World Cup starts?
If I don't, I've got a problem.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, that's what I'm training for.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You just want to be on time for kickoff.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And with the type of sports, is there something that you've never tried before that you're like really, if you're looking, because you've transitioned a lot, you've tried many different sports through the years as well. Is there something that you haven't done yet, which you would like to try?
I mean, I actually would have liked to do a lot more boxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could still do
and
that.
probably wrestling and so on as well. I mean, I've always liked that. I just don't know. Maybe I haven't had the opportunity. You know, living in Maritzburg for 6 years, and you know, I guess I could have done it there. I was never exposed to it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. But yeah, definitely, we can make that happen. We'll make that happen. Definitely. With the goal forward, and I do think that you had a great vision for where USN is going. What's the goal for the next few years? Where are you guys looking to focus more your attention on, and what's the goal for the business?
Yeah. So there's huge growth opportunities for us in Eastern Europe.
Okay.
Malaysia, Far East, is showing very good growth for us.
Yes.
Australia is gaining very good momentum. South America, Brazil. Yeah, I mean, you know, Uruguay, we're doing well there. You know, the rugby team there, they're using our products.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It probably makes you very excited to know that this is helping a lot of people as well. You know, it's something that's, especially if you have full-time athletes, but anyone that is passionate about fitness and about nutrition and even just conscious about eating healthy, need to supplement. How does that make you feel?
No, it's an amazing feeling. I mean, just if you just take, well, you met Sharon Moore.
Yes.
Now, the year before last, in the Malimoto category, he placed 3rd overall.
Yeah.
We met, and he said he really thinks he can win it.
Yeah.
So we had the supplement plan from him, and I said to him, okay, let's just follow this supplement plan religiously.
Yeah.
He was leading the race this year, and I think on the 4th stage, his engine seized up.
Yeah.
Now, in that category, you're not allowed to get any outside help.
Okay.
So when you finish the stage, you need to overhaul your entire motor or replace your motor. So after you set up your own tent and everything as well.
That sounds, yeah.
He lost 45 minutes and, you know, and gained that back. And in the last day, I think he won by almost an hour or 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things that he said was that because your body is dealing with so much stress all day long, it's difficult to eat food, but also the circumstances. You can't put back everything that you burn.
Yeah, you can't waste time as well, you know. So
you know, so the Epic Pro formulation that he's used, together with all the cramp block and just the right combination of supplements, he said made a massive difference for him.
That is,
you know, insane. So and that's the thing with all these stage races. You wanna finish stronger than what you started.
Yeah.
Or at least as strong as when you started.
Yeah.
And the same for you as well. I mean, you wanna, you know, you go through a 8-week training camp.
Yes.
At the end of that 8-week training camp, you wanna bank as every single minute of training.
Yes.
But you can only really do that if you feed your body with the right fuel.
Yeah.
Continuously.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's always very rewarding. And I mean, I'm never suggesting that success is all due to supplements, but it plays a role.
100%.
And the name is called a supplement for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not your solution for everything.
Yes.
It's just supplements. Even if it's a 5% contribution that it makes to help you recover faster, perform better, more energy, then that may be the only 5% that you need, you know, to win.
That's
or even
awesome.
1%.
My last question, who is your favorite sports person of all time? I know there's a lot of contenders.
Yeah.
Someone that you maybe really looked up to, someone that you took a lot of motivation.
There are so many good ones, you know, and so many good sports people in their own right. It's so difficult for me to isolate anyone because, I mean, everyone. I mean, you've got so many overachievers, and it's just so awesome to see because you know I love that ambition of good sports people. You know. So I mean, right now I'm very happy that Verstappen is doing that well.
Yes, he's a brilliant athlete.
So
as well.
it's just incredible, you know. But there are a lot of Verstappens in different sport categories. I mean, you're a Verstappen in your own right. I mean, you're unbeaten. You know? So that's incredible.
I just don't reverse that well. I just don't reverse that well.
But that's good. You know, in your sport, you shouldn't reverse. You should just go forward.
100%. Yeah. No, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And thank you for your support, not only in our careers, not only in CIT, but also, you know, I have a gift for you here. You guys were also part of the Versus event, and talking about athletes, these guys, we wanted to show our appreciation to you. So we are looking to do a future.
Thank you very much. This is
future
fantastic.
events as well.
That's going straight up on our wall.
Yeah, all the amateurs. So these are the amateurs. A lot of amateur talents in Africa. We flew a few guys in Angola, Zambia. Obviously, some of the South Africans. That guy can do with more supplements, I think, because he's a fatty. But I can also say that because he's a teammate, so it's fine. But thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
It was an honor to be here.
Yeah, thank you for your time, and make sure to go check out USN's website. It will be in the description below, as well as Mr. Geldenhuys' Instagram, Facebook. We'll have everything down below. You can go check that out. He posts awesome enduro videos as well. It's very cool content. Cheers. Thank you, guys.